Hi everybody and welcome back to Apple Cottage. This is Sandy and I am Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming. As always, like, subscribe, and share with the world. Well, today we're talking about onions. I love onions. In fact, they're one of my favorite vegetables to grow. They belong to the fundamental trinity of cooking, which is onions, celery, and carrots. And so they're just something that you can use and use and use. So I'm out on the patio this morning and it's early morning. And I thought we would talk about how I store those onions. Now, my goal is always to have onions all the way until I'm harvesting onions again. The first thing you have to do when you are looking at that is to pick onion varieties that are long storers. They're going to store well for you. Like, I love a Walla Walla onion, but it doesn't store well. And so even though I may grow a few of those so that I can enjoy them, I wouldn't do a lot of them because they don't store well. And I want to be able to have them for basically a year. Now, today I am actually going to plant some of the onions I had been storing. Now, things to look for when they start to grow in your storage. Like this one is still very hard, but has a little bit of growth on top. Where this one is very squishy, has more growth, but it has used up all of its energy, and because it doesn't have a root system, this is not one I would plant. So I picked out some of all my varieties. I always like to do a red. My favorite long storing onion is a Highlander. That's what this one is. My second favorite is a Sterling. And you can buy onions as live plants. You can buy them as sets, which actually means that those farms grew them the year before, but they only got that little bulbet. Or you can grow them from seed. Totally choices that you make. Now, the advantage of seeds is that you have a lot more varieties and you can get them from all over the world. The live plants is probably my favorite choice, even though I still grow some onions from seed, just because they've already got started. With our growing season, we're considered long day onions. That's the type that I am looking for when I go to buy the live plants. And that's just because our days, the length of days that we have the sun. So that's why I pick the choices that I do. Now, where do I buy mine from? There's lots of companies. Dixondale Farms in Texas is where I've been buying them for a lot of years. And I've just really liked the product. Now, there are tricks to make your onions larger. Like when it starts to set, I like to push the soil back. And it seems to have that onion just rest on the soil and it gets larger and larger. Now, this is a good size onion, but I have lots bigger onions when I very first harvest. Another trick when you're storing is I set up tables outside on this patio. And I'll pull all my onions and I lay them so they're not one on top of the other. And I'll literally let them sit for about 2 weeks outside. If it's going to rain, I'm going to cover them. But I just want them to dry out. I'll insert a picture because sometimes I braid them and hang them in the pantry. But for the most part, what I do is I just use boxes. I just have them sitting on shelves in the pantry. I check them regularly because some of them will go soft. And it doesn't seem to matter size-wise on why they go soft. Some of them just do. Because look at this little one. Still hard as a rock. Where some of the bigger ones got soft. If they start to get any amount of soft, I want to use those first. And if you just regularly are going into your pantry anyway, just check your onions, weekly basis, every 2 weeks, and that will really help you so that you're not having a loss of any of your vegetables. Now, sterling is a beautiful onion. It's a white onion. I have, this is probably one of my smaller sterlings, but when I harvested last year, I'm pretty sure I have some pictures, so I'll insert some pictures about harvesting last year. It will, you know, some of them are softball size. Same with Highlanders. You can have some really huge Highlanders. I do try to use those really big ones first. They make great slicers for a cheeseburger. And then a lot of times I will take my onions when I have an overabundance and I'll chop them up, I'll dehydrate them. Some of them, after they're dehydrated, I grind, so I have onion powder. But it's a great way to store them and to be able to use them if you don't have a lot of space. I'm going to put in some clips and I'm going to actually plant some of these up by my cabbages. It's a good area. It gets sun probably from about 9 o'clock till about 2 o'clock. And that doesn't seem like a huge amount, but what I really want these to do, because they're not going to make it a better onion, I want the seeds from them. And so I'm going to plant several of each kind so that they can have some cross-pollination and I will have some seeds. So here in one of my raised beds, I'm just working that soil a little bit. And I'm going to plant, this is one of the Highlanders. Now I just want the roots in there and I want it so it doesn't topple over. So I'm just going to make a little hole and put that softly in. Then I can grab another one. Now these roots will come back and they will just start to grow. There's a lot of energy in that bulb right now. And when I do this, I really plant them pretty close together. And it won't be long before they are really growing. Now remember, if it's soft and squishy, don't plant it. But if it's still hard, you'll have an onion plant very soon. But as you see, it is really a fast process. And this will give me a lot of seeds. And so I can not only buy plants, but I can start some of them from seed when I want to too. It's an onion plant that just comes up for me every single year. Now it hasn't set any seeds in there yet, but over on this one, you can start to see some little black in there, and that's the seeds forming in there. Well, everybody, I hope you have an interesting day, that you're planting onions, and I will see you again soon.